Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that you're getting your week off to a good start. I hope those of you who celebrated the holidays had a great time with your family and friends, loved ones. Like I said, I hope that you are planning to close out 2019 on a very strong and positive note. I'm stopping in now on an impromptu message because I woke up to several messages from my clients and a person who is not currently my client but may end up being a client, all dealing with darkness and depression and just, things. Unexpected things popping up, what I call the vicissitudes of life, those unexpected changes and shifts and issues that just pop up out of nowhere. And, for a lot of people, even if, nothing exceptionally horrible is going on, this is just a bad time of the year for some people. And so I'm sitting up and I'm reading their messages and I'm placing myself in their mindset to understand, how they must be feeling at the time as I respond to them. And I thought that I would just get up and share some things with you. What happens when darkness rolls in? And it doesn't have to be the holidays. It can be any time of the year. But what happens when darkness rolls in? And let me tell you something. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care how they tell you they've got it all figured out. I don't care if what they tell you in way of, them having the answer and the solution or the panacea to all of life's issues. The truth is, at some point in time, you're going to have to fight off a bout of depression, a bout of sadness. Some darkness is going to press against your door. And you're going to have to make a decision of how you're going to deal with it. No one is completely inoculated from depression. Some of us have learned how to manage and set the state and attitude and mindset as we enter each day. But we don't control everything. Sometimes there are just some heavy things that are going to fall in your lap that you're going to have to face and deal with. Sometimes things you're hoping for. Maybe, you have a relationship that's not, where you want it to be, on shaky ground, or it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Maybe you have a business endeavor that doesn't seem like it's going to line up. And you've been trying and you've been doing everything you can to be on top of it, and it doesn't seem like it's coming together. Maybe your finances aren't in order. Maybe you're missing a loved one, or maybe you lost a loved one at this time of the year, and so this is always a downtime. I keep up with a lot of the current events as far as dealing with and what depression looks like in America. And there are literally places where there are high occurrences of depression. And, depression, sadness, sorrow, frustration, all of these things are going to happen at some time. So to sit up and tell you, it shouldn't be, or get over it, or suck it up, or toughen up. What you have to understand is that your life isn't designed for, or you weren't created and designed for suffering. Suffering is not your lot in life. Being down and downtrodden is not your lot in life. That there's something special on the inside of you, even in your darkest and most worried moment. There's something inside of you that's special, that's unique, that's powerful. And I don't want this to sound cliche-ish. I don't want this to sound as if I'm just running off some bat. What I'm trying to tell you is there are going to be times when everything around you doesn't look like who you are. It happens. Trust me, I've been there. There are going to be times when there's going to be so much darkness around you that you don't believe light exists. But the light is literally on the inside of you. God is on the inside of you. And that's not a religious statement. That's a powerful reality that you can really truly trust and understand. That needs to be an understanding that there is no darkness where you cannot touch God. Matter of fact, for those of you who study the Bible, it says both in what is it? It's got stuff popping up on the screen. Excuse me, kind of throwing me off. Solomon said God dwells in the darkness, even the gross darkness. And I found out in my most difficult times that when it was darkest, I was actually closest to God. The problem is we get consumed into focusing on the problem. And I've told you numerous times that what you focus on, you feel. And what you need to do is be focusing on the solution, focusing on coming out. Sometimes the answer ain't that. That's what faith is all about. No matter where you stand, at some point, you're going to have to execute some faith and confidence in who you are, in your purpose, in God, in your relationship with God, in the fact that you weren't designed to just exist. You weren't designed to just sit here and suffer. You weren't designed to just see. There are going to be some times when you think you've got it figured out and it doesn't work out. You can't fold. There are going to be some times when you're looking for the answer and nothing seems to work. You can't fold. There are going to be some times when you're sitting up and everything that you look around and try to see seems dark. And it seems like one piece of bad news after another. You've got to hold it together. You got to understand, first and foremost, that you're built for the battle, that you are literally built to come out of anything that you find yourself in. You are built to rise to the occasion. You have gone through some things. Take some time and look back over some things that should have took you out. Whenever I start going through some things, and it happens. I don't care how planned out you have something, know how well planned you think you have something, no matter how you think you have it lined up. Life has a way of shifting things on you and catching you off guard. And it's going to be at that moment, like I posted this last week. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to it. Now, the thing is, when something happens, if you focus on it, it becomes bigger. If you focus on it longer, it becomes even bigger. And then before you know it, you're having an anxiety attack. You're having a fear. You're getting frightened. You're literally in full fight or flight mode. You're in a stress response by a thought that came through your head or an anticipation of something that was going to go wrong. And now you can't get, I don't care how bad it gets. You got to understand that you're coming out of it. You may not come out of it when you want to. That's too easy. Sometimes you're going to have to push through. Sometimes you're going to have to make up in your mind, if I'm still breathing, I'm here for a reason. I'm not going to fold. I'm not going to lie down. There's something great on the other side. There's somebody that's literally looking at my life, and how I live my life is going to be my testimony to them of how good God is. And again, this is not religion. This is talking about having a close enough and intimate enough relationship with the Most High that you know you're never stuck in something you don't want to be in, that it's never the end until you say it is. You've never lost until you accept defeat, that you have to be willing to stand up on your feet and look adversity dead on and say, I will not fold. I will not lay down. I will not quit. I will not give in. I don't care what it is. If it's that relationship, if it's something worth fighting for, fight for it. If it's something where you know you're the only one putting into it, you got to have the courage to cut it loose. Take the time to heal and rise. You have it within you. If it's a business thing, it doesn't come easy. There's nothing easy about being a business owner. It's about hard work. It's about disappointment. It's about expectations that don't get met, and you still stand up and you push through it. If you see it, I'm going to tell you like this. Whatever business you have, this is for my business owners. Because, see, I done lived this so long and so often. I done been through it every way you can think about almost. Let me tell you something. If you can put your thing together, you can come up with something. It's something that you're good at, something that you love doing, and you can get you 2 or 3 clients. If you've gotten you 2 or 3 clients and your clients were satisfied, you got to learn how to scale now. You got to learn how to double down. You got to learn how to be. If you've got some problems going in, play with your marketing until you get it the way it is, to the way that it needs to be. Go after the people that will be appreciative of what you bring to the table, whatever that business is. If you're serving a need and you're solving a problem, then there are people out there who will patronize you. You've got to be confident enough to believe it. You got to be intentful enough to go after it. You got to be persistent and relentless in whatever you're pursuing. What I want you to know more than anything out there is that nothing is more devastating to your relationship with you and God than you quitting. Matter of fact, for those who are Christian, you can go to Hebrews chapter 10, I want to say starting at the 34th, 35th, and it says, my soul finds no pleasure in those who draw back to perdition. But we are not of those who draw back. We are those who continue on until the saving of the soul. We refuse to quit. We refuse to lay down. We refuse to turn around. You going through something right now. I know what it feels like to feel crushed. I know what it feels like to feel alone. I know what it feels like to feel abandoned. I know what it feels like to sit up and wonder how you're going to take care of the things that you've been assigned responsibility to take care of and not have the answer. But see, the beautiful thing about faith is it doesn't require that you have the answer. It requires that you trust and you believe and that you wake up and that you get up and that you go after it. What am I saying? I'm saying that it's not going to be easy all the time. That's not what this life is about. This life is about reward, and reward comes at a price. Sometimes it's not going to be the way you want it to be. Sometimes it's not going to happen on your time frame. What you cannot do is quit. What you cannot do is turn around. What you cannot do is sit up and lay it down and give up and retreat and fall back. My soul finds no pleasure in those who draw back, those who quit. And then right after that is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. The most common definition given for faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what? Things not seen. See, we're not even using faith until we get to that part where we can't see it. We're not using faith until it doesn't seem possible. We're not using faith until you look around and everything you've tried hasn't worked, but you still trust. That's faith. So to all the people who are going through, I'm going through with you. I'm keeping you lifted. I'm keeping you held high. But you got to stop focusing on the problem. Start focusing on the solution. Start telling yourself there's a solution. Start telling you there's no problem that God does not have the answer to, and that the answer is on your way, that the mind of God is never challenged. Tell yourself that. Tell yourself that the mind of God is never challenged, and that the answer is coming. Even though I don't see it myself, the answer is coming. Stand in it. That's what you've got to do. Start believing, start speaking. Watch what you speak. Your self-talk is the powerful circuitry and software that will be uploaded into that supercomputer known as your brain, and it will literally control how you engage life and what results you get. Stop talking the negative. Stop speaking negative. Start talking. Call things that are not as though they were. Start to speak it in the present tense. I am, and speak what it is. Speak it and stand on it. Speak it and stand on it. I don't care what the circumstances are saying. You've got a relationship with the most powerful spiritual force in the universe, and it communicates directly with your spirit. And when those circumstances don't line up, that should be something in your spirit that disagrees with the circumstances. The circumstances don't have the last word. What you stand on, what you speak, and what you demand out of life, that has the last word. So what are you speaking? What are you believing? What are you trusting God for? I'm going to leave you on that note. I didn't get a chance to put anything into the description field on this. I mean, it was just coming in. I'm like, oh, man, what's really going on? And then you got to understand, sometimes there's a spiritual force moving against you right on the edge of your breakthrough, right on the tip of when things are about to go. That's where so many people give up right before they hit it. Right before it comes through, you just feel like, oh, I don't have anything left, and you quit. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't turn around. This is where you've got to be relentless. You've got to sit up and say, I'm going to get it or I'm going to die trying. That is my mantra. I am going to get it. I'm going to die trying. What I will not do is quit. What I will not do is lay down. What I will not do is succumb to negativity. I will not succumb to negative ideas, negative expectations. God meets you at the level of your expectations. And you've got to make it up in your mind that you're going to stand up and you're going to rise up. I'm pretty sure that a couple of people have reached out to me because they normally watch my. Whatever you're going through right now, whoever you are, even if it's not somebody that's reached out to me this morning, whatever you're going through right now, it's not bigger than God. Whatever you're going through right now, you've been built to go through it. I can't tell you how many times I faced down something that was so huge, it literally shook the foundation on which I stood. But I didn't have the answer to how I was going to overcome it. But I knew that I was built for it, and I would go in the restroom. No matter where I was, wherever that moment hit me, I would find me a restroom and I would stand in the mirror and I would look at myself. I would square my shoulders and I would hold my head up and stick my chest out. And I would just look at myself directly in the eyes and say, you're built for this. I can't tell you, you are built for this. And I'll say it until I started to feel it. You are built for this. And I went back out and I went to war. That's something that you're going to have to be able to do and understand. There are going to be times when it just doesn't go your way. It's going to be times when people you thought cared about you turn on you. There are going to be times that the people you do it for don't understand you and talk about you and are attacking you behind your back. You've got to understand that between you and God, there's nothing that's impossible. Between you and what you believe, your relationship with the Most High guarantees you certain inalienable powers that you're going to have to access now and start to walk in. Start to live in. That sometimes those old memories creep up on you and the past starts to nibble at you. Sometimes you look out and you feel like you're alone. You know, to all you single mothers out there, hold your head up. Hold your head up. To those who are in a better space, reach out to those single mothers. Start to pour into people who need you and watch how your life changes. To some of the men out there that feel like nothing is going your way and you're on the edge of just giving up, stand strong, brother. Reach out to me if you need to. We'll talk. We have to start trusting that we're built for the battle. And we've got to start walking in a faith that isn't shaken by any circumstance or situation, because what you have with God is bigger than anything. Raise your standards, because when you raise your standards, you lower your tolerance for accepting things that are not quite up to par. It puts you in a better position. You've got to become the person who is capable of doing and having everything you need. If you're not having it right now, you need to become it. When you become it, you will produce it. Like I said, I didn't put anything in the description box yet, but once the video uploads, I'll come back and I'll load the description box up with some resources. For those of you who are going to see this on the YouTube channel, it'll be in the description box. For those who are going to listen to it on the From the Desk of Rick Wallace podcast, it'll be in the description box as well. But check out some of the resources. The way that you can work with me directly will be in there. A couple of my last books, book 20 and 21, the links will be in there. And some other things. But the thing is, I want you to understand, if you never listen to anything else I say, if you never watch another video, listen to a podcast, read a book or article that I've written, that's okay. Leave here knowing you're built for the battle. Leave here knowing that you are not, your suffering is not your lot in life. Let me explain something to you. I have not been able to circumvent or avoid pain. I haven't met a person on this planet, and I met quite a few people who have been able to avoid pain. But pain is inevitable. It's coming. But suffering, that's a choice. Suffering is choosing to identify with what's causing your pain to the point that it becomes your lot, where you just believe that you're supposed to suffer, that you're not supposed to rise to the occasion. You were not meant to be mediocre. You were not meant to be average. You were not meant to be some footstool for other people to rise up on. You have a purpose in this life. Stand on it, believe in it, and rise to it. There's something special out there for you. I challenge you to do it. Again, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to put some information in the box. If you want the book, you want to order some courses, I'm going to share all that with you. If you want to work with me directly, I do have a few spaces open. I am very intense. I demand consistency, but I get results. With that being said, look, keep your head up. Trust your relationship with God. If you need to work on that, do that. You've got to have something that you have confidence in that can never be smaller than your biggest problem. And God works for me. And the fact that God designed me to win works for me. See, I don't just have confidence in God. I have confidence in what God created in me. So when I start to face things, okay, I see it coming. I'm ready. I'm built for this. That's the life you got to live. Like I always tell you, I live my life on full. And the reason I do that is I don't want to take any of my potential to the grave with me. I live my life on full so that I die on E. That's my challenge to you. Wake up in the morning and go put in the work. I don't care how it turns out or what it's looking like now. When you put in the work, when you're planting the seeds, the harvest plant the seeds and nurture and guard it, and the harvest will come. Sometimes you're expecting something so great to come so soon. There's a gestation period. There's a gestation period when you plant. Depending on what you plant, it takes a certain amount of time for it to gestate, for it to draw the nutrients out the ground, for it to grow, for it to take root, for it to dig itself in. See, the bigger it is, the deeper the roots have to go for it to be able to withstand the weight of what's coming out. And so when you plant something and you're expecting something great, you're going to have to be willing to be patient. You're going to have to be willing to keep working even though you don't see it. That's what faith is about. Faith is about that putting in the work and trusting and standing and living, even when you don't see it. See, if you can see it, that's not faith. You can reason that. There's certain things you can wake up and know. If I just go do this, I'm going to get paid. That doesn't require faith. Faith is when you don't see it. Faith is when everybody around you is telling you it's not possible. Faith is when you've seen it done before and it's been rough and it's never turned out, but you just know you're right in the space you need to be. You're right where God wants you to be operating, and you got to keep doing it, because faith is what's going to come up and make it happen. And it's so important. If you can see it, it ain't faith yet. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Start trusting that what you don't see is still there. Just keep putting in the work. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. I got a lot to do. Like I said, there was an impromptu session. I was just like, man, what's going on? But, it's a real world out there. And we have to be prepared to deal with it. It would be great if we lived in a utopia, but we don't. We live in a real world. But the great thing is God designed us to be difference makers, to be life changers, world changers, to sit up and build what we don't have, to create what we want. And make a demand on the universe that the universe has to respond to. That's what faith is. Faith is literally making a demand on the universe that the universe has no choice but to respond to. Hold your head up. Hold your head up and start believing you're built for this, and make up in your mind that you're not quitting. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.